Hello there, good evening. I'm Randy Rowett. Welcome to another edition of Randy's Wellness TV here on TorontoTV.org. A special program and a special guest here. With me is Dr. David Harper. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Harper is the director of the Mosaic Wellness Center and also operates a clinic in Markham. Nice to have you here with us.
Thank you very much again.
Now, tell us a little bit about your background in terms of natural health and how you got involved with the healing aspects of nutrition and a variety of other things.
Thank you. In 1989, I graduated from the Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College in Toronto as a chiropractor. So my background is chiropractic. That is the license that I have to practice healthcare in Ontario. But I became somewhat dissatisfied when certain patients that I was treating musculoskeletally or with back pain or neck pain were not getting better. As a result, the journey led me to involve myself in a nutritional path and journey. I received a certification in nutrition, and I'm actually doing a PhD in clinical nutrition right now, presently through Clayton College. But what was most interesting was that certain patients that I was dealing with needed a more comprehensive wellness approach. It was more of a symphonic type of interpretation as to how their body was actually working. It was more of a web type of understanding, that everything was connected and that there was an ecosystem within their body that needed to be understood. My analogy, music is my other passion, my analogy then is that as an ecosystem or a symphony, to understand and to listen to what's going on in the body was most important. The interesting aspect there, Randy, was that I gave a lot of supplements to my patients. We use applied kinesiology, we muscle test, we used various different forms of technology. Some of the people watching may know of biological train analysis, various different types of surface EMGs, various different technologies to assess a person. We also use functional medicine testing, but began to realize that there were two things that were holding even these patients back. Two aspects of their health that really wasn't well known, that wasn't well promoted.
Two things, what were they?
The two things were viral load and toxic body burden. These things got in the way of me trying to bring them towards a higher state of health. Their digestion was poor, but the toxic burden wasn't allowing their body to be able to manage a change.
Let's talk first about viral load and what that encompasses and what type of viral activity are we referring to here?
Well, what we know from research and science is that we all have viruses in our body. Most of us have herpes viruses. They're very prevalent, they're very common. We all have contracted other types of viruses from various different things, including shots and needles. We know that there are certain viral issues around the flus that are around. Avian flu is big in the news right now. These issues are around us, and our body has them. And what has happened to these viruses is that they become stealth. What I mean by that is that they become hidden to the body's immune system. The body does not have a very specific active immune reaction to them. They exist within the body, but the body does not have an active fever, it doesn't have an active redness, tenderness, soreness, those types of common aspects or that mean that the body is trying to fight something with the immune system.
So the presence of these viral organisms in the body,
yes.
How does it become prevalent, and at what stage before people realize they have to do something about it?
Well, usually it gets to an end stage. Usually we react when something actually becomes significant and severe.
Symptoms.
Symptoms, basically, exactly. It's a reactionary system that we've adopted in our healthcare programs. They found the presence of viruses in certain cancers, for example. People would be interested to know that certain types of shots and needles actually had foreign viruses within them. The simian virus 40 is one that's taken a lot of interest in the news as well of late because of the prevalence, and that was associated with polio.
Yes, and we're going to talk more about pandemic and things of that nature and viruses as we move along here.
Mm-hmm.
But how about a reference to detoxification? That's a very important thing, and a lot of people don't realize the importance of having a plan as such to detoxify and get rid of that toxic load that they carry within their bodies.
That's exactly right, and you know, it's tragic to really delve into the science and the research behind this. There's a great organization called the Environmental Working Group. Randy, have you heard of this before?
No, Environmental Working Group.
Yeah, the website actually is quite a fascinating website to visit. It's the Environmental Working Group website is ewg.org.
Now, what's their focus?
Their focus is actually trying to investigate and understand the body burden within individuals. They have several different studies that they've done, amongst others, where they've actually drawn the blood from adults and actually infants. They've actually investigated the umbilical cord blood, random children in the U.S. Their database is only 10, but they found that there are over 200 chemicals found within the umbilical cord blood as the child is being born. The blood is drawn, the umbilical cord is cut, the blood is drawn, and the Red Cross actually, in that drawing, sent it away for lab assessment. 200 chemicals, Randy, going into a newborn child. That's a lot.
Yes, it is, and it's a byproduct of lifestyle issues as well as environmental issues, the parents, and a variety of other things. And,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
this is like a live cell analysis that you're doing.
Oh, absolutely, and it was the first of its kind to actually assess what is going into a fetus and what is going into a child.
200 chemicals, and of course there's thousands of chemicals out there which are listed as designated hazardous substances as well.
Oh,
And,
absolutely. But we're talking about the off-gassing of gasoline residues, DDT,
Benzene, yeah.
benzene, all things that were supposed to be banned, but they're found now in our bodies.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's passed off to people, of course.
Exactly.
And so you started off as a chiropractor.
Yes.
Very, very, very noble profession, and certainly needed in the healthcare industry. And you kind of transfer this into nutrition a bit, and you seem to be very passionate about this specific topic here. Why is that?
I'm very passionate because the death rates associated with some of these illnesses that are preventable
Right.
are very high.
Yes.
Cancer is 1 in 2.2 men, 2.6
It's
women.
incredibly an epidemic almost.
It is an epidemic. It's a pandemic, and,
That's right.
and I believe that this message needs to get out, that people need to know and need to understand that there are things that can be done to help themselves, and that this is nothing that they can hide from. There's a risk of sounding too scary in terms of what I'm trying to describe, but I believe that knowledge is wisdom when it's properly applied. And so having knowledge can be scary, but the knowledge with wisdom of knowing how to manage these issues, I think, is the most critical thing. And we have now knowledge that can be applied through wisdom. We have some products that can be used as a lifestyle of continuous detoxification.
Now let's look at some of these products.
Yes.
We see we have a little dropper here.
Yes.
And if you could maybe just hold that up for the camera.
Yeah, I would like
viewers
to,
can see
yes.
that. That's called Immune Cleanse.
Yes.
Now this was it's also called oil of oregano P73.
Yes, there is olive oregano from
Yeah.
Dr. Cass Ingram,
Yes.
P73.
Well-known natural health practitioner, and certainly an expert on a variety of natural health initiatives.
Yes, he's a good friend of mine. And so he has with us developed this particular product as a tri-spice formulation. The P73 is in this particular product from Dr. Ingram. He has formulated this for us exclusively, by the way. There are 2 other components to this particular product, bay leaf oil as well as lemongrass oil.
Both very healthy. Now with this, both of these are also healthy, but with this oil of oregano, a lot of people don't realize the actual medicinal benefits of oil of oregano, and antiviral.
Not only
there's tests that prove that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Dr. Ingram has done these tests, and they are available, and the research is available online on his particular website, p-73.com, where anyone can go and download these research articles in terms of what he has done. We know that it will actually deal with and manage avian flu. We know that it will deal with various different bacterium, E. coli. We know that it will deal with, according to research, candida. These are things that are known, and this particular spice, grown in a certain location at a certain elevation in a part of Turkey, is his particular claim to fame, I guess you could say, but the specificity of where it is grown because of the nutrients that find themselves into that. And there's a treasure trove of nutrients. We're talking about iron at a dosage, natural iron at 50 milligrams per 100 grams. We're talking about zinc at 4 milligrams.
Very beneficial, especially
Very
in terms
beneficial.
of something where somebody's getting like a flu or a cold virus, something like that.
Well, because it's all about immune function,
That's
and
right,
our
yeah.
body needs to have that nutrition to fight off that particular invader.
Yes. And it's really amazing looking at the ingredients in the immune cleanse. Terrific product. And I want to just use this example. A few years ago we had the SARS scare,
Yes,
and now we have as you mentioned, the concern of the avian flu epidemic.
sure.
These type of products use a basis of natural herbs and
Yes,
their immune properties.
that's correct.
What is projected that this product can do for somebody in the way of maybe building their immune system to prevent them acquiring these type of conditions?
Well, while I cannot make any specific determination, each case is going to be as an individual, the
Right.
research indicates that once a person has been exposed, if they're able to manage the dosages that we recommend for acute infections, their turnaround or their recovery is expected. It's no different than any other type of product that would be used, whether it's medicinal or whether it's natural. The expectation is that the person will recover. Now, that cannot be a guarantee in terms of, and you understand that, I mean, it just can't be. But from the research, from the literature, from the way in which it was tested in the lab environments, we are very confident in this particular product having an effect in a positive way.
And the best part about that too is, an important factor to remember is, this has all been tested, and the product is tested, and it really is a good alternative product to use for people who may be worried about this type of situation.
Absolutely. And on our website, we actually have an electronic book that they can download. And I've given you a copy of that too, Randy, for your benefit, for your edification. But they can download that ebook if they're interested in actually knowing where this research comes from and researching it for themselves. I just want to mention, I mentioned earlier that the body is like an ecosystem. And
Yes.
and one must understand...
Delicate balance.
Delicate balance. And it's all about getting back to homeostasis, Randy. It's about trying to get back to a state where the body is optimized. And these tools are some of the tools in the tool chest that a person should have in their home for their family, for their loved ones, for their children, for their grandparents, in being able to help booster an immune system and then provide really, really good health security.
So we're in the cold and flu season. It's just ended, but I mean, of course, any type of cold or flu virus can emerge at any time.
At any
So
time.
this is a positive thing to use. How often?
It can be used every day. I mean, and that's the real benefit. There are dosages, 2 to 6 drops a day, where a person could be taking it on a regular basis. One must understand that we have a load within our body that needs to be managed.
Right.
And that load creates a stress on our system, and when that stress or demand becomes too dramatic, our body breaks down. It doesn't always have to break down overnight. The proverbial straw that breaks the camel's back can be just exactly that. We're under stress, we're under demands, and it's that little push that pushes us over the edge in terms of our health.
Stresses our body physically, mentally. You've got cortisol reactions with people, and you've got adrenal problems which can occur from these things too. So
That's the idea of this web-like understanding of what's going on in the body.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
now the wild bay leaf oil.
Yes.
Actually, it's an interesting concept. You've got wild bay leaf oil, and then you've got olive oregano. But it's important for people to remember, these are not common spices you get at home that you buy in the grocery store. These are very,
No.
very potent, very proven herbs.
Yes, and they've been tested and they've been evaluated, and the sources that they obtain them from are very specific. It's not, the garden-grown variety of oregano, let's say, for example. Dr. Ingram, where he receives this or grows this, is a certain place, a certain elevation, and a certain type of rock face below the frost line in Turkey, and it's actually grown there.
Terrific.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, one of my favorite foods is, I like to eat a lot of food, but
Okay.
one of my favorites is lemongrass soup.
Okay.
And I know the benefits of lemongrass and the taste, but what is the actual overall benefit for our viewers of lemongrass?
Well, specifically, it helps us deal with things like candida.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
there's a lot of talk about
yeast infection.
the yeast infection,
Yeah.
that whole management and how that affects our body. And I must say that with the lemongrass oil, the taste of the oregano that can be sometimes harsh under the tongue is actually calmed. So that the other benefit of this particular product is that it is not as harsh to consume. And I've taken a dropper full, which can be 30, 35 drops of the product under my tongue with very little reaction in a burning sense that can often be seen with oregano. And that's one of the real benefits. People say, wow, this tastes great. And that's a real compliance issue when one is trying to manage an illness or prevent an illness.
So they lose the toxic load ability.
Correct.
And also it's a continual cleanse. How long can a person use this?
In my mind, the way I perceive it, it needs to be done for life.
Okay.
I mean, we're constantly exposed to individuals that we really don't know what type of health state they're in. At some of the health shows that we've been in, those of us that have been on the product have remained healthy after dealing with people that come up to the booth and talk up to us and they're sick and they're breathing on us.
Right.
We just don't really know what they're coming to us with. And so if one wants to maintain a continual process of low burden, it needs to be done for a lifetime.
And
It's a lifestyle.
Absolutely. And combining it with such preventative measures as infection control procedures and universal precautions, these things will definitely help.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, I see you have another product there. Now,
Yes.
this is, we will hold that up for it's Total Body Purge for
Yes.
cleansing all cells. Now, tell us a little bit about that, please.
Well, this product is what we would take on a daily basis to actually purge the liver, cleanse the liver, the colon, and the kidneys. There's some really phenomenal products or components within this. Raw fireweed is in here, sage oil, rosemary oil, raw nettles, burdock leaf. It's been formulated to produce that type of cleansing. We use these together. This is something that we're wanting to support together. And the reason for that is that when we're cleansing the body from whatever burden we're dealing with, we want the liver to be able to handle that removal process. We want to make sure that we're not going to push ourselves into a greater state of sickness because our liver is challenged. And we know it will be because of our state of toxic body burden.
People have a lot of burden on their liver and their kidneys as well, and
Absolutely.
especially on their liver because of the toxins every day, the constant purification of the blood that must go on.
Absolutely.
And there's a variety of other things that happen. But dandelion, another excellent product for cleansing the liver, just as milk thistle would be.
Absolutely.
And nettle,
Yes.
another important.
Raw nettles, yeah.
Very important for that purpose. Now, sage. When I think of sage, I think of a very warm type of product, something that would make your body warm, but also help for your respiratory.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a complete concept. Dr. Ingram, in formulating this, has created a complete concept and putting everything together in one bottle. You don't have to take a little bit of this or a little bit of that. You don't have to mix it yourself. You shake it and take a teaspoon a day in the morning on an empty stomach, and you just really benefit from that type of effect.
Very interesting. Now, as a practitioner, are you now combining both the chiropractic and the complementary medicine of the nutrition with it?
It has to be. I mean, as a chiropractor, I will tell you that every cell of your body is coordinated by the central nervous system.
Yes.
And so if you have any subluxation in the body, any subluxation in the spine, any interference with that flow, and you don't need to have much to have interference, research shows that the weight of a dime is all that is necessary to change the transmission through a nerve. That's not a lot. But if you have that, then you change the organ performance.
You change the transmission through a nerve, and you also change the behavior of the offending organism.
Absolutely. I mean, it's this comprehensive concept of being able to have an optimized body. I mean, I think we've adopted a concept of wait and see. We've
Yes.
adopted a concept of reaction versus prevention. Various different personalities now are saying, well, what about prevention? Now, why aren't we concentrating on prevention? And there are many reasons why. We don't need to get into that, but we're concentrating. I'm concentrating on the message of prevention and actually being proactive. I actually like the word proactive better, Randy, because it has this idea of being able to benchmark your body, compare you against something. If you were a runner and you wanted to run the mile at a certain rate of time, you would run it, and then we would compare that against you a month from now. Have you improved? That's benchmarking. And
Yes.
I believe that's really where we get into the solid science of being able to work within that wellness realm.
So, very interesting. Very interesting. So, your clients,
Yes.
people come to see you, what are some of the comments that they're actually giving you, without getting into specifics of who they are?
Right.
The comments related to the combination of both therapies and how this is helping their overall health in addition to the chiropractic.
It's all about eat well, think well, move well.
Yes.
I can move better, I have less stress in my body, I can enjoy my life, I can be active with my grandchildren, I can perform my sport activities with greater function, with greater energy. I'm not tired all the time. I feel like I can think clearly. I'm not experiencing that foggy brain type of effect that toxins can have on the body. Remember that toxins find themselves in fat.
Yes.
Fat is the storage site of
They hide in the
toxins.
lipids.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
And so the concepts of the oils, the cleansing of the body, getting the bile working around the liver, cleansing that liver is also about trying to mobilize things out of the body from the fat. Well, the brain is 70% fat. There's a huge component of fat within the brain. That's why, memory, changes in cognition, being able to remember facts is an important aspect that could be a sign, or if one has that, it could be a sign of increased toxicity in their body.
And of course, I believe it's also, excuse me, I believe it's also important to focus on the aspects of hydration.
Oh,
Although
yes.
really, you're not drinking enough water.
they're not drinking enough water. And you know, enzymes are important, good probiotics, good healthy bacteria. One thing I should mention that
Yes.
depending upon the dosage of this, you're going to want to take a healthy probiotic product. What we're talking about is Acidophilus bifidobacteria, healthy bacteria to culture in the bowel.
Bacterial culture available at your local natural health store, and
Sure.
you know, it'll say right under what the cells are, how many bacterial cells there are, and certainly there would be some positive bacterial counts in natural yogurt as well.
Yes, absolutely. So it's this concept of enhancement, optimization within the body. Absolutely.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we focused a little bit earlier on pandemics and flu viruses and things like that. Now, that is the scare now. We had the SARS thing a few years ago. We've had the avian flu thing now.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps it hasn't hit like people thought it would. Perhaps it's not here yet. We don't really know. But balancing your lifestyle issues, your diet, your exercise, stress management, exercising, drinking a lot of fluids, cleansing, avoiding your contamination with pollutants and things of that nature, it all benefits the person in terms of building their immune system, depending on their age too, building their
Absolutely.
immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about what you recommend to your clients for their overall health program, other than what I've just mentioned, in terms of, let's talk about the psychological aspects of health as it relates to chiropractic, as it relates to nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Very-
give us a focus on that?
Yeah, very, very important. One needs to have a very positive outlook,
Yeah.
and it's important to love oneself. I mean, it's important to have a good self-image. It's important to have good emotions. We actually do some emotional work in the office, Randy. There's some techniques that we do that actually help to eliminate the stress associated with negative emotions. But it's very, very important because our concept is to eat well, think well, and move well. Okay?
Eat well, think well, and move well, but overall, be confident and be positive about your everyday life. If people get into a trap, they become more susceptible to problems. People should be eating, combining the right amount of herbs, healthy eating, and they really should be seeing a chiropractor because you get the balance of homeostasis, as you said, between the alignment of your body, the proper alignment, and the alignment of your digestion system. You combine the two, and that's a very, very important physical aspect of the overall health.
Yeah, and what's very interesting is that studies even done in 1921 indicated that decay of the spine was directly related to decay in organs. And so one needs to have the neurological supply adequate to be able to manage the organ function as well as providing the nutrition. Because one must remember that when we consume food, that food is broken down in our digestive system,
Yes.
and those components must get across. 60% of your immune system centers around your gastrointestinal system, 10% more in the liver, 70% of your body's defense around those two particular organs. If the neurological supply is poor, the organ function will be also poor.
And the systems of the body must operate all in unison and effectively.
It's a symphony. What I tell my clients is I'm the music director for their orchestra.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
so, and I must have perfect pitch to listen to what their body is saying, to try and interpret where to go in and help change the way in which those organs or pieces of the orchestra, the instruments in the orchestra, are actually playing the music.
Okay, so where can people reach you in terms of the Mosaic Wellness Center for chiropractic, for nutrition, and a variety of these products here?
Well, the phone number where you can reach me is at 905-629-0688. The website is www.mosaic, that's MOSAIC, wellness.com. These products here can be obtained from the website www.thewellnessrevolution.ca. My clinic is in Mississauga. It's right by the airport at the
Okay.
interchange between the 401 and the
And
427.
you've got Markham Road. as
And
well.
I'm at Markham Road too as well. So I'm basically right by the hospital.
Good
and
area, yes.
Good area to be in.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Harper, for visiting us today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
A very informative program with Dr. David Harper of the Mosaic Wellness Center. We like to keep you informed with all the latest developments, what's going on with natural health, with nutrition, and a variety of other things related to practitioners and to products as well. My name is Randy Rowett. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on another edition of Randy's Wellness TV. Bye for now.